Last year's Trout Fest banquet was able to net over $90,000, which the chapter was able to put towards some really great conservation efforts here in Southwest Montana. Each year, MGTU hosts monthly meetings from October through May. These meetings cover a variety of different topics, including fishing trips and tactics, presentations from local biologists, fly tying nights, and chapter updates. A huge thanks to Jimmy for organizing these meetings. The chapter has long supported the local Trout in the Classroom program. Students receive a fully set up fish tank that receives fertilized trout eggs. As the eggs hatch and mature into juvenile trout, students get to learn about the life cycle of trout and the importance of healthy streams to our local fisheries. This year, MGTU tied their previous record by sponsoring 9 tanks spanning classes from Bozeman, Belgrade, and Manhattan. MGTU Service Partnership is an initiative to support our nation's active duty servicemen and women, reservists, first responders, veterans, and their families, and engage them in meaningful and sustainable ways with TU chapter activities. Last year, MGTU supported vets and first responders through a number of events. This included 5 trips to Depew Spring Creek in Paradise Valley, 1 outing to Gates of the Mountains, 4 trips on the Upper Yellowstone, a 4-day excursion on the Upper Madison, and another 4-day trip on waters across southwestern Montana. Depending on the event, this can include covering the cost of airfare, lodging, and equipment. MGTU members also donate their time to row, guide, and teach participants how to fly fish. The chapter also provides financial support to the MSU Veterans Program. All of these service partnership participants are also eligible for a free 1-year membership to Trout Unlimited. A special thanks is needed to MGTU members Paul White, Dave Cumling, Bob Frey, Andy Moore, Pat Frey, and Jimmy. Also, Scott Weisbeck with Project Healing Waters for all of his help organizing some of these events. Special thanks to Daryl Smith at Depew Spring Creek for continued support of veterans fishing outings on their property, as well as Brent Brandmeier and his son Ross for taking these great photos. And finally, George Anderson's Yellowstone Angler and Beartooth Fly Fishing for supporting these outings. Shout out to Larry Mann and Wendy Williamson, who donated a beautiful wooden drift boat. The boat will be used to take vets and first responders on fly fishing excursions across southwest Montana. MGTU was once again a proud sponsor of the 16th annual Gallatin River Weed Pull. The event had 31 volunteers who pulled over 1,000 pounds of noxious weeds from 4 fishing access sites along the Gallatin River. The annual Madison River Cleanup was supported by 25 volunteers who helped clean up garbage from various sites on the busy lower Madison River. MGTU also supported the Gallatin Watershed Cleanup, which removed over 1,640 pounds of garbage from sites along the Gallatin Valley. Montana Trout Unlimited organizes an annual conservation camp at Georgetown Lake. Each year, MGTU sponsors 2 campers who get to learn about trout fishing, freshwater ecology, and overall just how to have a great time in the outdoors. The salmon fly hatch is one of the most anticipated events in the fly fishing calendar. However, there is evidence that the salmon fly numbers in southwestern Montana are in decline. This year, MGTU committed funding to the Madison River Foundation's partnership with MSU's long-term salmon fly study on the Madison River. The project will evaluate years of water temperature data on the Madison, assess the impact of tributary flows, temperature, sediment, and other variables on salmon fly populations. The result of this project will help scientists better understand river and tributary conditions that impact invertebrate populations and diversity. This will hopefully result in management actions that help protect the Madison's salmon fly hatch. The chapter also helps sponsor a number of local events, including the 13th annual Kids Fishing Day at Glen Rotary Lake in Bozeman, the Montana Stream Access Rally, and multiple Gallatin Valley Earth Day events, including a recent talk on beavers headlined by author Ben Goldfarb. The Madison Gallatin TU chapter is a 100% volunteer program. However, some of the funding raised from the banquet helps support staff time and projects led by National TU employees. National TU staff working on projects in southwest Montana include Montana Water Program Director Pat Byard, Staff Attorney Nate Casey, Associate Staff Attorney Walker Cunningham, and In-Stream Flow Specialist Ali Pardis. These folks are experts on the water rights and policies that help protect southwest Montana's trout fisheries, while project managers Connor Parrish and Ashley Brubaker identify, design, and implement restoration projects on the Madison, Gallatin, and Upper Yellowstone rivers. Our policy team is currently working on a number of issues in southwest Montana, including restoring flow to Mill Creek and Paradise Valley, setting up the Gallatin Water Trust, which will keep more water in our streams, and they maintain 17 water right leases in southwest Montana, accounting for over 140 CFS of stream flow, which is kept in stream for the benefit of our trout fishery. In the Gallatin Valley, we implemented a number of restoration projects during 2024. The first was on Leverage Creek, a small tributary to Bozeman Creek, which supports a struggling population of native West Slope cutthroat trout. TU worked with a private landowner and the Forest Service to implement a restoration project on a 0.5-mile reach of stream. We worked with the Montana Conservation Corps crew to build 40 log jams, which will improve habitat for these important native fish for many years to come. Since 2019, TU has restored and reconnected about 10 miles of Dry Creek, a large tributary to the East Gallatin River. Last fall, we implemented a third phase of restoration, where we improved 1 mile of habitat on Dry Creek, which suffers from degraded habitat and fine sediment issues. With funding from several sources, including MGTU, we reshaped 4 eroding stream banks that will decrease Dry Creek's annual sediment load by an estimated 120 tons per year. This is in addition to the 450 tons annual sediment contributions that were removed during previous phases of restoration. Mandeville Creek is a tributary to the East Gallatin River that flows right through Bozeman. As it flows through the city, it receives all kinds of stormwater runoff and irrigation returns that contribute to its water quality issues. Besides poor water quality, Mandeville Creek is lacking fish and wildlife habitat. And perhaps most notably, Mandeville Creek is contributing polluted water to the East Gallatin River, which negatively impacts our beloved local trout fishery. During 2024, TU began a restoration project on 1.2 miles of Mandeville Creek where it flows through state land. This included the installation of 83 habitat structures with the support of youth conservation crews and volunteers. The project will ultimately improve habitat and water quality for both Mandeville Creek and the East Gallatin River. In the Madison watershed, TU is developing 2 tributary restoration projects. The first is improving floodplain and habitat connection through a large causeway that crosses the floodplain of the South Fork Madison River. The causeway is over 300 yards in length with just 1 small culvert to convey floodwaters. Currently, we are working with the U.S. Forest Service to install approximately 6 culverts in the causeway and decommission some illegal roads and parking areas next to the stream. This project will improve the fishery of both the South Fork and also Hebgen Lake. Another project in the Madison watershed is being developed with the help of the U.S. Forest Service on the West Fork Madison River. The West Fork Madison is currently being loved to death by recreators. TU and the Forest Service are creating a plan to address recreation impacts and improve stream habitat at 21 campsites along the popular West Fork Madison River. With the West Fork being a large spawning and rearing tributary to the middle section of the main stem Madison River, this project will benefit the fishery on the West Fork but also the main stem river itself. Heading over to the east, Mill Creek is a large tributary to the Yellowstone River in Paradise Valley, and it's critical to the survival of Yellowstone cutthroat trout. During 2023, Trout Unlimited installed 5 large log jams as part of a pilot project with the goal of improving fish habitat. After those structures successfully held up to high spring flows, TU went ahead and installed more structures this year. This project is part of a larger effort working with the Forest Service on a whole suite of Yellowstone cutthroat trout conservation actions on Mill Creek to improve habitat and the long-term viability of Yellowstone cutthroat trout in the watershed. In addition to the restoration work on Mill Creek, TU is working with the Forest Service to construct a fish barrier. This structure will prevent non-native trout from moving upstream where they are likely to hybridize with native cutthroat trout or compete with them for resources. Throughout their native range, Yellowstone cutthroat trout are losing their fight with non-native fish, so this will be a big victory for YCT conservation in the upper Yellowstone watershed. The barrier would be built on Forest Service land upstream of Mill Creek's confluence with Passage Creek. Last year, TU continued developing a restoration plan working with private landowners in the Shields watershed to improve water quality and fish habitat on 0.7 miles of Brackett Creek. During 2025, TU will be resloping eroding stream banks to reduce fine sediment inputs and revegetating those stream banks. Brackett is home to a healthy population of brown trout and Yellowstone cutthroat trout. The project will ultimately benefit both the fishery of Brackett Creek and the Shields River. Over in the Jefferson watershed, Montana Trout Unlimited is leading a large project on the Boulder River near Cardwell. The project will remove the Shaw diversion and 2 smaller diversions and replace them with in-stream irrigation pumps that will benefit trout and agriculture. This will restore fish passage and add 7 CFS of cold water to both the Boulder and Jefferson rivers. It will also restore stream and wetland habitat. MGTU has pledged $16,001 to this project. That's $1 more than the TU chapter over in Missoula.